Hi, welcome to the second part of our lecture series for Unit 2. And this unit is all about this lecture is all about goal setting. Actually, the unit is all about goal setting. We'll start, there's a few slides here, so I want to make sure I get through them. The lecture overview includes the aim for this lecture is to review the essential elements of this week's readings while providing you with steps towards setting your own goals and then to begin the process of systematic reflective practice. By the end of this lecture, you should be able to begin the process of aligning your goals at 3 different levels to meet the requirements of the NEPF. Readings for this week. So you probably have noted, if you are watching the lectures back to back, that the reading was modified, and that was because I thought that one of the readings was not as useful as the other one, but can serve as a supplemental guide. So this reading here was the one that was changed, Goal Setting as Teacher Development Practice by Heather Camp. That was taken out and replaced with this guide for teacher development, teacher goal setting, and then it's along with this one, helping teachers set goals, which is super old, but it's super relevant still, which I thought was pretty interesting. And then you have the Nevada Educator Performance Evaluation System tool that I've included as a PDF. Feel free to download that and then print from it. At the end, at the end of this slide should be a little bit more clear, but you'll see, if you haven't already viewed, how this kind of aligns. So goals in professional performance are the setup or the framework for reflective practice. This step begins your review of how you set your goals for the year and your continuous life goals as they relate to your professional development as an educator. So each of the aspects of the goals should be measurable. They should be a part of your evaluation framework, and they should also be seen throughout classroom instructional approaches. Main purposes of the evaluation framework. So in addition to the previous slide discussed the main attributes of goal setting as a professional educator. Our state in detail, just like a lot of other states for teachers, aligns what the expectations and requirements are for you as a professional in Nevada. So the overall purpose of Nevada's Educator Performance Framework is to identify effective instruction and leadership and to establish criteria to determine these elements here. So they want to determine the professional development needs of educators, information on which to base human capital decisions, including rewards and consequences, whether educators are using data to inform decision making, and then helping students meet achievement targets and performance expectations, effectively engaging families, and then collaborating, how you collaborate effectively. So the interesting thing, though, is that before looking at this, I had actually never considered that they were looking at effectively engaging families and collaborating effectively, because oftentimes when you go into your evaluation process, the main focus is on you as a professional, your professional development, and then also whether your data tells the administrators what you're doing, even if that data and specifically the data is usually test-driven data, not your actual performance in the classroom. For example, if you have a student that comes into the classroom performing at a level of 1, meaning that they're at the basic level, not on the grade level, and then they leave at a grade level 2, your test data may not show that because they failed. But reality is, did they fail? They made achievements. So this systematic approach that I'm going to show you will give you an arguing tool, meaning that you'll be able to justify your performance, even if that means that maybe the student didn't meet their grade level requirements, but they did grow. And that's kind of like the purpose of it, because we all know in special education settings, growth may not be traditionally evident. So the typical evaluation cycle should look like this, and this is how it's aligned with the state. You should do your educator self-assessment late summer, early fall, and then your pre-evaluation conference analysis, goal setting, and plan development should happen at the beginning of the school year. Observations and conferences and plan implementation and evidence review throughout the school year. It should start at the beginning. So you should have your binder or your resources ready and set for tracking and recording, and then you should be filling that binder or your resource collector throughout the year. So by the mid-year here, you should actually have a wealth of resources. And this is your mid-cycle goals review. It's hard to review if you don't have anything in there. I have learned the hard way. Not that I wasn't doing my job, it's just that I didn't know that this is something I was supposed to do. And your post-evaluation should be happening now if it hasn't already, or the beginning of spring. Sorry. So the first reading, helping teachers set goals. And remember, this is a brief overview. You still have to do the reading, but this is a really short reading, only 6 pages. This reading is from 1980. The funny thing is, like I said before, it is still very relevant. So there's a quote that I thought was very important on page 416 for us to pay attention to. It says that traditionally evaluation has been viewed as synonymous with observation, the typical observation being an unplanned visit to a classroom, at which time the supervisor attempts to take in everything that is occurring and to select those things about which he or she feels most comfortable or uncomfortable. The funny thing is that that's not how observation should work. If you have your goals set from the summertime or from the time you leave school, you walk into a school building, realistically, that should be the tone that's set for your evaluations. When you sit down for your pre-conference, which I don't know about you, but I frankly do not have those, typically your pre-conference is before the observation discussion. Not fair. So maybe, at this year you might want to advocate, hey, can we have a pre-conference? Can I meet with you to discuss prior to our evaluation the goals of the school as they align to my goals professionally? Because that's what's supposed to happen. And from there, you should see, or goal setting should be situated within the established goals that align with the school's goals and also the goal of performance for this year. And your supervisor should be observing for those things that are set by the goals. Now, I'm not saying if other things come up that they should annotate them, but the key thing is that your goals should be aligned to the reasons that prompt the evaluations, not just to see if you're doing your job. Goals should also lead the systematic approach to reviewing your overall performance. So as you talk about your performance, you should be talking about your goals and vice versa, which I know is not always done, but hey, maybe next year. Teacher goal setting. The key thing is that this is your profession. So when you are setting goals, it's important for you to remember that this is a part of your teacher development. Do not wait for your administrators to set goals for you, because this is your goal. I don't know if I shared this with you, but I am a passionate educator. I started teaching when I was 13 years old in my church as a youth in our youth program, and I love teaching. So my goal every year is to be the best teacher that I can be. With that being said, I set my own goals and I align those to the school goals, and then I get to work. So your responsibility as an educator is to make sure that your skills can go from any state to any state, that you are able to be your best regardless of what expectations are set for you. And that's just an opinion, but proven statement for my professional career, that I've gone from North Carolina, I've taught in New York, and then I'm here teaching, and I still hold myself to the same standards regardless of what those standards are for me as a professional, because I know that they work. So by setting good goals in the beginning of the year and tracking progress toward those goals, teachers can focus on improving a few specific high impact skills rather than trying to improve everything at once, which is why the systematic approach really works, because it makes you focus on specifics and not just the overall. And then you build into the overall impact that you have as an educator from those specific points that you're working on. So what makes a good goal? A good goal should be long-term goals. It shouldn't be something that is like 5 minutes ago. Hey, I want to fix my objectives. No. It says throughout the year, teachers and coaches track your progress towards goals and make adjustments to goals based on data and evidence collected. So these can be goals that started this year that you want to continue into next year. Goals should also be SMART goals. I added the SMART goal framework because I didn't add that before, and I noticed that people really didn't know what that was. So this is how I was trained to set all my objectives and also any goals that I have. So the SMART framework is used to help, and I have it here. It's used to help you frame things specifically. So within it, you have the specific who, what, when, where, and why. You have the measurable. Goals are quantifiable and can be measured, meaning that quantifiable, they have a numerical value that you can trace back to the original specifics. And then ambitious and high impact. We're looking for high impact, meaning that I should be able to see this throughout all my courses or classes. Highest level to maximize student achievement for that teacher. And then relevant, and then time bound. So they should be clear and they should be very specific. Aligning your goals to the NEPF tool should start at the very beginning. It says here that goal setting, sorry about that, that goal setting should start at the beginning of your planning. Set proposed goals, including but not necessarily limited to one student learning goal and one professional practice goal related to improving your own practice that supports the achievement of the SLG, and then develop action steps for each goal and then record evidence to be used. So the cool thing is that if you start this early, it's not that big of a deal. And I'm giving you a head start. Honestly, this unit helps you to start this type of goal setting so that you are like the proficient goal setting expert. Like you'll have it down packed, trust me. Because really, evaluations, proof of performance is a system. They don't tell you this, but it's true. You have to be able to prove what you know and how you did it, and then the impact that it had on students each and every way. So finally, for this week, the outcome and the end of tasks they are aligned to each aspect of this module in the readings. Hopefully by the end you'll be able to accomplish all these things. If you see that you have not, then please let me know. And then as promised, I have included some final thoughts from another teacher who is a part-time doctoral student, and the contributions from this TED Talk I think can be really impactful. So if you have some opportunity, take a look at it, but it will be available to you and your resources. But remember, reflection takes work. However, in the end, it is worth the trouble. So I know this is not something that you probably want to do right now, but if you do small increments just to get the grade for this class, there's something that you will get rewarding much bigger than you will ever be able to imagine the following year. Save my teaching career, I promise you. So although it will take a little bit of work to begin the process, if you haven't already done so, then please consider that this will be life-changing. Take a look at this bonus clip if you have a chance again, and I hope that you enjoy the curriculum and the curriculum content for this week. If you have any questions, please let me know.